The next chapter we're working on, we're going to start with algebra. Algebra is one of the most important things that you're going to be doing in math this year and in continuous years. The goal in algebra is to get the variable by itself. When you do that, you solve the equation. How we're going to do that? We're going to cancel the numbers using opposite operations. There's a golden rule in life: what you do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. In algebra, there's a golden rule, and it says, what you do to one side, meaning one side of the equation, you must do to the other. So whatever you do to one side, you have to do it to the other side of the equation. So an equation is kind of like a seesaw. If you could picture this being the middle of the seesaw or teeter-totter, we have two sides of the seesaw. In order to keep this balanced, we have to add weight or take off weight of each side of the seesaw at the same time. So if I do something over here to the seesaw, I need to do the same thing over here, or else now it's unbalanced. It's kind of like equations. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this equation in half through the equal sign. That's like my two sides of the teeter-totter. The goal is to get the x by itself. So I'm going to put a box around that. That's going to show me what I need to get rid of. So on this side of the equation, I need x by itself. I have plus 8. To undo something, we do the opposite. So if I subtract 8 on both sides, these are going to cancel. Positive 8, negative 8 cancel, and I get x. That's what I want. I want x by itself. That means it's solved. 12 minus 8 is 4. So now I have x equals 4. That equation is solved. To check it, I rewrite the equation that I have, x plus 8 equals 12, and I plug in 4 for x, because that's the answer that I got, and I see if both sides are the same. 12 on this side, 4 and 8 is 12, 12 on that side. So that means my answer right here is true. It's the right answer because the check worked. Number 2, I draw a line down. I box the variable. I see what's not in the box on that side, minus 5. I do the opposite. So I add 5 to both sides. Now I know in the beginning this is going to be very easy. The questions are pretty simple enough you can figure out on your own. We're going to get a lot harder questions, a lot harder equations, but we're always going to do the same process. So to check my answer, 20 equals 20, that's true. So no matter how hard the questions or the problems get, we're always doing the same process. Algebra is a systematic approach to solving an equation. It's the same process over and over and over again. We don't change that process. Line down, I box the variable, I do the opposite. So for this one, I add 14 to both sides. So the 14s cancel, and I get 35. To check it, I plug in 35 for x, because that was my answer. I subtract 14, and I see if I get 21. So in this case, I got 21 on both sides. That's true, that works. Number 4, line down, box my variable. I add 53, do the opposite to both sides. So I get x equals 70. I plug it into the original equation, so I take out x and I use parentheses to show that. And I see if I get the same thing. 70 minus 53 is 17. And you notice it's the same on both sides. So that works. It checks. Line down, box my variable. I do the opposite. Subtract 5 on both sides. X equals 8. To check it, I plug in the 8 for the x. And I notice I get the same answer on both sides. So your answer should be the same on both sides if this check works. This one I'm going to add 17 on both sides. So I get 39. 39 to check it, minus 17 should be 22. And you'll notice that that is true. So that one works also. So again, I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again. Minus is 13. Make sure that we're careful of our integer rules. Like this question here, I have a negative 37 and a negative 13. The signs are the same. I add them together. I get 50, and I keep the sign the same, so it's negative 50. When I check this, and I plug in negative 50, and for x, negative 50 plus 13 is negative 37. And you'll notice I get negative 37 on both sides. So anytime you get an answer and you check it, you'll automatically know that it's right or wrong just as the check works. Now in this case, I have 52 is positive, 91 is negative. I subtract them, and I get a 39, and I keep the negative because 91 is bigger and it's negative. So negative 39 plus 91 is 52. That is true. Same thing with number 9. I'm going to do the opposite, so I add 17. 39, so 39 minus 17. Oh, sorry about that. Equals 22. 22 equals 22, that's true. Now sometimes you're variably on the left side, sometimes on the right side. You still do the same thing. Draw the line down, you box the variable, what's not in the box needs to go. So I subtract 7. 33 equals A. So I have 40, same original equation, equals 33. I take out the A and put in 33, plus 7. 33 and 7 is 40, so that checks. Number 11, same thing, box. I do the opposite. Whatever side the variable is on, that's what I'm working with. Negative 12 and positive 20 gives me an 8. To check that, I got negative 12 equals 8 minus 20. And 8 minus 20 is the same as 8 plus negative 20, which is negative 12. So that checks also. Number 12, subtract 12 on both sides. Negative 11 equals n. When I check this, 1 equals negative 11 plus 12. Negative 11 plus 12 is 1, so that works. So remember, we're always doing the same thing to both sides, and we're undoing the operation, kind of like when you want to take your shoe off, you got to untie it. We got to undo what we did.